NLP is a program, a technique that started out in the 70s by John Grindler and another guy who was with him called Richard Bandler. Bandler and Grindler, they started this as a survey in order to understand why certain people succeeded easier, better in life, both business-wise and personal-wise. So they founded NLP, which is the studies of the structure about the subjective experiences. That is kind of a very long sentence, but NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. So it's the studies of the structure about the subjective experiences. But then again, if I take it to a personal level, it's about growth, it's about progress, it's about folding or unfolding. So for me, it's very much about personal growth, corporate growth, family growth. So however you want to use it, it's totally free. I have found it very valuable, both personally and professionally, to work with this program. And it has given me tools to grow, actually. And if you go back also to what NLP is, it's also an attitude. And for me, attitude is very, very important. So the NLP is an attitude backed up by a methodology which leaves a trace of techniques. So that is kind of a summary of what NLP is and how it can help you. That is a very, very, I'm looking in my handbook a little bit just so I say the right things about NLP.
All right, thank you very much for that. And in fact, it is fair enough that you made mention of that. Now, the point is, I'm trying to understand, when did you first started to get the experience of NLP? I want to believe that maybe it's not something that you started as a childhood, even though some of these techniques might actually be something that even from childhood would have that be passed to us in some ways, even though they might not have been named in the particular term that they have named today. So when did you first start to get the experience of knowing and practicing the techniques of NLP?
I realized that I had some limitation in myself, and it was a self-reflection on how I was as a person, personally, and also in business, and made me curious if I could develop and grow in those areas that were lacking for me, because I saw that I came so short in some ways, and I had some baggage, which we all have, and that's when I came across NLP. I browsed it, I looked at it, and so it made me kind of continue looking for this, and then I came across it. And what I didn't say, about the Neuro-Linguistic Programming, it stands for neuro, and it's about the nerve system where we experience the world through our success or our senses. Linguistic is the verbal and non-verbal communication system that codes, arrange, and create the meaning. And then we have the programming, the ability to organize our communication and our neurologic system to reach specific results. So it's kind of a combination of the emotional, the physical, and the mental approach that we have.
Mm-hmm. So you were referring to baggages. That is the term that you use, referring to maybe your past life, no? Which is sort of maybe go into NLP and begin to look for something. Anyway, I'm coming back to this question because in this podcast, in this channel, we are trying to concentrate on the human being, even though we are also trying to look at business, no? And we are trying to look at how we grow, how we develop, how we overcome obstacles. So you see that we are looking at personal development or self-improvement, as it were. So that part of your life that you are referring to at baggage, can you say something about it? What actually do you mean, if it is something that you can share?
Why I started to go into finding some other solutions.
Exactly.
Is that what you?
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you come to a shortage and you want to grow, and you're kind of in a standstill and you don't know where to go, then you need to try to find solutions on that. And for me, it was quite obvious that I was in a standstill. My company wasn't growing that much on a personal level. Even I was kind of stuck in a situation where I was not really happy and about myself. So for that reason, I needed to find out more about myself. So it was more like a journey to understand who I actually am.
All right. Now I get it. And of course, NLP, like you said, because when you were making mention of Grandler and Richard, John Grandler and Richard Brindler, these are guys that are in the field of linguistic, no? That they are experts in linguistic, in languages. And so what I'm trying to get at by referring to them is that what is the connection? Can you find out the connection between NLP and our everyday communication? Because if they are linguists, if they are experts in languages, and they manage to find this instrument that we are now, a lot of people are not taking advantage of today, I think there should be a kind of a connection between the technique that they found and our level of communication and all that. Can you find us a link?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's everything is about communication today. And then we have different senses that reflects on that. We have the visual, we have the hearing, and then we have the verbal. And how you react how you communicate is also a reaction on how you respond. So if you understand yourself and you understand the person and kind of creating a rapport, then you are more able to, first of all, understand what is coming out, and then secondly, you're also much more suitable of, working in a good way of communicating, and very much of communicating is about listening. So I learned at that point to shut up and listen very much to people instead of talking. But again, I kind of take it from a personal point of view, and for me, some of the questions I think that you're going to ask me is I'm not going to be very good answering them. But for me, it's about connecting all those senses and connecting, the emotional and the mental and the physical way of communicating.
Okay, but when it is said that the communication is everything. I remember one of the months ago, because before I started to open this podcast out to people, I was basically doing it a kind of a solo podcast. In that sense, I was just picking out one argument at a time and elaborating on it for a whole month. Which, of course, we produce one podcast every week. Yeah, so 4 podcasts in a month. So in one of this month, I think it was in the month of February, if I'm not mistaken, we deal on the topic of communication. Because communication really is very, very important, especially maybe when you are looking at business or self-improvement, not only in business, but even in normal, regular life, in social life. So it is very important that this topic that we are treating today, that we are also sharing with people, with students. So your approach, your way of practicing NLP is very, very important. In fact, that is what I'm even more interested in than the theory of it, because at that level, anybody can connect.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree on you, and giving you some specific, answers on that and how I work, because often we can reply that in a very generalistic way, and that is our people, as we are, I'm very good in remember. Okay, what do you mean by that? Yeah, I'm very good in remember customers. Okay, what do you mean by that? I'm very good in remembering people because the technique I use is so effective for me. So for me, it's like you need to funnel it down so you get the specifics and not the general. And that is what I have used in sales, for instance, in managing my sales force. So I called them up and I said, how was your day? And they say, it was a good day. Okay, can you please explain what a good day is? Well, I visit some customers. Okay, how many customers did you visit? I visit 10 customers. Okay, out of those 10 customers, how many did you sell to? I sold to 5. Okay, so how much did you sell to them? I sold, and then the number comes. And that is more of the, when you funnel it down, instead of just saying it's a good day, which I don't get much out of, I started to ask more specific questions. Give me this answers so I can really follow you if it was a good day or if it was not a good day. So in this particular example, we can say that 10 customer visits was good. And a hit rate out of 50% was so good. Maybe not the best, but still acceptable. And then the average amount of the order maybe could have made up for the customer visits or the customer orders. So it's kind of getting the full information that you want to get, and that is part of management role. You can't just accept it was a good day, because what is a good day?
That is powerful. You see, this is what I'm talking about now, because now we are getting in the practical sense, no, in the way that you actually practice it, which is far more valuable than maybe reciting a book or reading a book. Also is very interesting, because there we're actually reading the experiences of other people. But by the time we really cue it down to how we work with it, how we deal with it in our personal life, then it becomes easy for people to understand, because it is not just a theoretical thing. It's something that is practical, like you clearly state, no? In fact, it made me remember one time, I don't remember where I read it somewhere, that, when I was doing a course on filmmaking, that was when my teacher was saying, maybe, for example, you watch a film now, because then I was studying documentary film making, somebody watched a film and he said, okay, this documentary is good. What do you mean by being good?
Yes.
Because a child,
compared to what?
a child can say that food is sweet, but this sweet need to be explained. Are you talking of the quantity of the meat in it? Is it because you enjoy the vegetable in it? Is it the flavor you are referring to? So you see,
exactly.
By the time we begin to break it down into little pieces, then it comes to make a lot of sense. It comes to have more meaning in what we are talking about. Otherwise, it becomes very generic. You get it? All right. So
exactly. And as people, we are very generic. And for me, I've learned that this generics doesn't help me. It actually takes me back, because then I need to ask more questions, And also, you can ask in different ways. It was a good day. Okay, was it a good day compared to what day? So there are so many levels of how to get out the specifics, and the specifics is what's important.
Absolutely, the specific. Now, talking about the specific, how does NLP really work in a practical term? I think some people really want to get into this. Like when you, I know you already make some example just now. When you go to pass this knowledge to your student, to the people who you are teaching about NLP, how does it work? Take us into your world. Help us to understand that.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me say like this. When I do this, it's like the map is not the reality for me. What you see in the mirror is not the real thing. So what you see outside is not the real thing. You need to find out what it is. So you need to unfold what is folded, and that is getting a new version. So if you have a definition of you, and then there is a possibility that you can have another wanted image picture of yourself, and then you need to change. And then what do you need to change? And then you have to go to, how do I need to change? when do I need to start changing? And the funny thing with NLP is that it pushes you to see that you have needed inside yourself. You have to see them and you have to use them. You maybe don't know it yet, but as a master practitioner, I can see that in people, and I know that you have the resources in you, and I'm going to help you to pull them out. And the other thing that I very often use is everything happens twice. So if I make an affirmation very strongly about what is going to happen, it mostly does. So I can see myself selling, or I can see myself leading, or I can see success coming in what way, either it's personal or in the professional life. It starts with your mindset and your affirmation and how you see it. You dream it in your imaginations. And that is pretty much kind of the ground rules. And then the attitude, and everything is possible, and expect success of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is great. Expect success. But of course, it's good. Anyway, I'm not going to drag that line a little further, which is taking us into the aspect that look a little bit psychological, no? This manifestation. Okay, I'm going to hang it there. Now, what I want to ask you now is, what are the advantages? Because now we are moving into the business side of it. Why a lot of businesses use it? Because today it's one of the things that is highly, I think, requested in big businesses. No, if you are managing people, if you are managing organization, it is expected that you have a good level of NLP. So if you go to big schools, of course, it's one of the things that is being taught today, which means that it is highly valuable, it is practical, and it is a lot of people are finding a lot of value in it. So it's okay. Sometimes things do happen.
Things do happen. Yes, things happen.
Yeah. Okay. So the question I really want to ask you, Tanzborn, is what are the key benefits of NLP?
The key benefit for me is that I have realized more and more who I am, and that I'm actually able to do this, and I can communicate in such a way where I can get into the real person across me. I mean, there are so many things that I don't know where to start, and I don't know where to stop. But it's also about, making people realize what difference makes the difference. It's about me understanding people, not saying that I understand them, but actually understanding them in a way that I can listen to them, and with all the tools that NLP has, it makes you more open to. Wow, that was a tricky question.
Really?
Obehi. I mean,
no, not at all.
I can only see the benefits out of it, and it's all good. I can connect with people on another level. I can listen to people in more, in a very, real way, and I can get to understand them, and I can realize that, okay, if I dig a little bit deeper, if I go a little bit further, I can get this communication, or whatever we say, person or me, and whatever, make it more prosperous.
Okay.
Whoa, Obehi, you put me. That's what I'm saying, Obehi. Some of the things I really can't, answer, because it's a little bit fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but it's good. It's good in a way. Okay, let's then do that. It's good. Yeah. How is it good? It's good because I learn a lot about myself. Learning a lot about myself, I learn a lot about other people. So, okay, so what do you learn? What do I learn about myself? Yes, I learn that I have limits about myself, that I can, walk over. Okay, what limits do I have? Yes, I have some limits concerning, upbringing and self-confidence and so on. So, okay, so what is the method of getting the better self-confidence? Yes, I need to do this or I need to do that. Okay, so what do I do that? When do I start? How do I do it? So when I funnel it down, what is good in this case, me, and maybe in you as well, it's about taking this. Why should it be good for me? Yes, because it makes you good. But what is good for you? And then you need to find out what is good for you, Obehi. And from there you go.
It's powerful, though. Oh, come on! No, it's really interesting, though, because you are a teacher in this place. We are trying to understand what you think. No, we are trying to understand what you pass to the students. So it is really very interesting by the time you begin to explain this aspect of it, no? That sort of become personal, if you want to put it even like that, no? So I'm really having a lot of value from that. Honestly speaking, I'm having a lot of value from that. Now, another thing I want to ask now is it maybe the reason why a lot of businesses are using NLP because of these many advantages that you have enumerated? Could it be the reason why a lot of businesses are using it, or why the term has become very popular this day?
No, I truly believe that, because in order to become successful, you need to understand what difference can we make in the company that makes the difference. And what I'm saying is nothing new. It's out there, and I would really like, I would really encourage people to go to do this. If it's me or someone else, helping you out, I don't really care, as long as you grow as a person. As long as you do your best in getting there and finding out the solution and finding out the best you, the real map. So I mean, it is, again, for business, it's very important to combine, those mind, body, and soul in a way, and how to communicate in the right way, and how to also communicate to people in the right way, and using all the senses that we have.
So I want to believe that maybe a friend of yours that is a business, I don't know, it could be there, right there in Tanzania or in Sweden, is having some challenges, because in the beginning, when we started the podcast, you made mention of your personal story, which sort of help you to go to look find solution, because in life is like that. It happens to all of us, no? No one actually is born perfect. At a time, it becomes challenging. It really just becomes challenging. In fact, one of the reasons we are also here talking about this thing that sometimes is partly personal and sometimes partly business is that we need to be able to relate to people, to let them understand that maybe you are passing through a kind of a stress, but you are not alone. A lot of people pass through this stress. But somehow, some people have managed to find a way to overcome their own, which means you as a human being can also find a way to overcome your own, because we are all living the same life. So that is why I think it's very important that we continue to share, no? So now,
I mean, I'm all in of sharing my personal experience if it can help someone else. I'm not afraid of putting my ass on the line and showing off what I have actually failed in life, because I have failed a lot, believe me. I mean, one of the things is in my second marriage, my wife came to me, and then and this is part of the human psychology also, and also part of the NLP, that you need to embrace the change that you want to do to yourself instead of just denying it. So she came to me at one point and she said, "Micael, yes, my dear wife, I want you to spend more time with the kids." And I'm saying, "But I'm doing that." "No, actually, you could spend a little bit more. You're very much focused on work. "No, I will agree to disagree on that, because and the thing is why I'm now working so much is because for the family's sake, and we can have a good vacation, and that's why I put in 20. in the business and the company so we can have a good life. Yeah, but still you could spend some more time with the kids. And I said, what are you saying? And then I get to the point where I got pretty upset. And it ended with nothing. She went away upset. I was left behind upset. And then I said, okay, that was it. No matter. I continue my work. So I continued my work. A few days later, my son came to me. It was around 7 o'clock in the evening. And then he asked me, hey, Dad, what are you doing? I'm working, son. Okay, I see. But Dad, why can't you work after we have gone to bed? And then it hit me. I could actually spend 1 more or 2 more hours with them when I came home and then continue working after they had gone to bed. So why I'm saying this is that one of the ways that when I am confronted about something, I'm not denying, I'm not explaining, I'm not, getting to the point where I'm getting angry before I accept the change. I'm actually, most of the time, I say, okay, that was interesting to hear. So how would you like it to be? And that is a way that I then can get the other person to express what they feel, see, sense is not right. And then I can say, okay, interesting. Wow. All right. So I can immediately go from the confrontation directly to accepting it, and then see what I can do in between in order to make a good rapport and to solve the situation. And that has helped me quite a lot in the after NLP. And even though I'm not married anymore, so I mean, somewhere along the line I've made some other mistakes. So, but I'm just saying that we sometimes are so. How would I put this? We are so keen on being right instead of giving the right to the other person and try to make a better outcome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it makes sense.
Everything makes sense. Everything makes sense. In fact, you are talking about human being here, you are talking about yourself.
Yeah.
That is why it makes sense, because you make sense. Of course, then it depends also on the interpretation of the person of the other side who is listening. But as far as I'm concerned, you make a lot of sense. Because like I was saying before, if we just come here and recite theory, we just come here and recite books and all that, it becomes very far from the people. But the moment I tell you my personal life, what I'm going through, you tell me your personal life, what we are going through, then it becomes very close to the people, because now we are talking about human being. Yesterday we go out, somebody slapped me by mistake, then we had a quarrel, then after that we settled, now we are friends. That is what human being does. So human being do that.
Sure.
You see, we make mistakes. All of us will make mistakes. Of course, there are those who might pretend that they never make mistakes. Okay, that is for them. But for normal human beings, we all make mistakes.
Yeah, we do. Every day.
It's true. We make a lot of mistakes. And it is good that we try to connect. We try to learn from each other. We try to learn how to better communicate. That is what I think the NLP is helping us to understand. So the question I was dragging at before actually is, now, say a friend of yours is a business and maybe have some challenges and doesn't know what to do, maybe not able to communicate well, and you realize that maybe NLP can sort of be an advantage to the person if he were to have a better understanding of the programming, What would you recommend for this person in terms of materials? I don't know, maybe books or courses. What would you recommend for the person to do, apart from just telling the person, try NLP, so that the person can have a practical understanding, a practical experience of it?
When it comes to the real ground rules of NLP, I mean, I know for sure that there are a lot of books out there on NLP, both by Grinder and Bandler. And one of the big names out there who is a very successful speaker is Tony Robbins. And he's basing everything, more or less everything, on NLP ground rules and values. So for me, as me, I don't actually teach NLP per se, but I include it in my programs, both when it comes to selling and when it comes to management and leadership. So it's not directly say this is NLP, but in like part of my courses. But if you want to learn specifically about NLP, I would suggest you to browse maybe Amazon.com, whatever, in order to find good books. Go to YouTube, find the clips, listen to Tony Robbins, listen to other good motivational speakers that I don't really have it in my mind, but Robbins is one of them that I know for a fact uses this very, very much.
All right. Now, when you were talking before, you made mention of the fact that the map is not the reality. That the image in front of you might not actually be the reality. I wanted to ask you then, what do you mean by that? Can you explain that a little bit further?
Okay, so look at from a personal point of view again. I can look at myself, and I saw myself as a, kind of a good guy, never making mistakes. I was very good at listening, and I, had my own image about myself. But then digging through this, I realized that I'm sometimes pretty stubborn. Sometimes I'm not very good at listening, and sometimes I pursue things further than I should have. So my image got kind of knacked a little bit, and I had to realize, okay, if I'm stubborn, what do I do for that? Does it hindering me, or is it helping me in my both personal career as in my professional career? Okay, at some points, being stubborn is good, but at some points I need to tone it down. So that is part of my stubbornness. That at some point, many times when I was younger, it broke me because it didn't really help me forward. So I needed to find a way of balancing that stubbornness. Also, kind of being the person and the voice that I have, I really need to understand that you can't just walk into a room and tell people how this is going to be done. So I learned to listen more. And that was the hardest part. To listen to people is very, very hard. And it takes time to actually be quiet and take in what people are actually telling you. Because when you get people to reveal themselves and you follow up with questions as, no, I'm not feeling very well. Okay, what do you mean by that? Well, I have kind of this, and then you dig deeper and deeper and deeper, and then they kind of, in the end, reveal everything. And then you could say, okay, so how do you really want to feel? So for me, listening was a major part that I had to deal with. So that, I don't know if that makes sense, but my stubbornness is still there, but I hope it's a bit balanced.
Yeah. No. Okay, you said that it's good. It's good to be stubborn sometimes. Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah. Because if you are just
look at you where you are. You've come to your place because of your stubbornness. I think so. You're highly motivated, and that's a part of the stubbornness that you need. But then you can maybe sometimes overdo it, and then it's going to hurt you. So it needs kind of a balance.
Yeah, it is true. Yeah, that is what it really needs. You need balance, because if you are just stubborn, then you are going to hit your head on the wall, and that head is going to be broken. But if you don't have to balance it, because life is also about balance, no? Not be too harsh, not be too cold, but somewhere in between can sort of be okay. All right, now coming back to the question of NLP. and your usage of it. You said before in the course of the conversation that you have been applying it, both in your leadership program and also in your sales. And now, let's imagine that somebody that is watching us now want to also apply it in his or her sales or in his or her work. I don't know, it might be in a different kind of work, maybe not necessarily in leadership or things like that. So how did you apply NLP in your work? Now we are looking at you personally again.
Okay. No, the thing is, when I came to, if we're looking at sales, for instance, when I came to customers, I realized that I needed to ask question after question after question after question in order to get the exact right information that I wanted to have. So how is your business? It's good. Okay, so what is good? So what do you do? What do you use for products? What is the good thing with your products? How can I get around this? Why is it so good? When do you buy it? How do you do it? So I learned how to ask questions in a way that I got the full information, and then could deliver the solution for them, because they needed the solution and I was the solution, of course. And then when it comes to leadership again, I have to apply much of the I can't just be a theory book. So when I went to Denmark and worked in Denmark for a year and a half, something like that, nearly 2 years, I also applied this, listen to them, encourage them, don't tell them what to do, ask them what they want to do, ask them how they want to do it, ask why they want to do it, ask them when they want to start doing it. And then from there, again, by asking them questions on, if you make it like this, would you possibly see a small change? How would the outcome be if you make it this way instead of doing it that way? So sometimes, they could have an idea of going in one direction, but through my questions, they could change that and realize themselves that actually that way was not good, so I need to go that way. And it was just me guiding them. I didn't tell them. I knew they had the answers, and I knew the answer, but I couldn't tell them the answer because they were stuck in a certain situation and they had a certain image. So for me, it's like helping them through my questions in order for them to realize the bigger picture. And again, I can go back to my daughter, who wanted to have a go on a specific line in college. And then through this questioning back and forth, how do you see that coming? Why do you really want to go that line? Because it was like, I could see that was not a good path for her, but I couldn't say that as a father. So I needed her to find out herself that was maybe not the best way of going into the college. So after we had a talk for around 45 minutes, an hour, she came up with the idea and said, Dad, I think I will change my plans. I think I will choose this course instead of the one that I had before, because I have realized that might not be the one for me. And I said, fantastic. Okay, good, great. That's good. Go for it. I like that, And I didn't tell her. She had the answer herself. I just helped her, guided her.
That is powerful.
It's very, very powerful, And the thing is, I don't want to take any credit for it. I'm just there helping and guiding. And if they come up with a solution themselves, it's good. If she wouldn't have come up with a solution, I would maybe ask a question: what would happen if you take that one and then you compare it with that one? What is the difference between this? Dig in even deeper for that person to understand the differences.
Mm-hmm. All right, now because this story that you told is very important, I'm going to search within your head again. Now tell me, have maybe a friend of yours, a co-business partner, have told you their most important aspect of NLP, their personal experience, that the reason why they will, of course, continue to use it as a program? Because I'm trying to convince people through this podcast that it is important to use NLP in their work. So is there any other experience maybe someone have shared with you of their benefits of NLP that you can share with us?
I mean, you can't convince anyone. They have to make the decision themselves. And then I would again go back to the question and say, why don't you use NLP? And then they might say whatever reason. And I said, okay, have you really found out what it is? And what if it worked? What is the worst case scenario and what is the best case scenario? Okay, the worst case scenario doesn't make sense. So it's just bullshit. So what have you lost? Nothing much. A bit of time, maybe a few dollars here and there. So what is the best case scenario? Well, it actually works. So what is the outcome of that? Well, more success and maybe answers to your questions and solutions on your obstacles and ways over the challenges. So me convincing anyone, no, I've stopped doing that. For me, it's like they know the answers themselves, and then I can help them find the answer. But convincing them, no. No.
Okay, I agree with you completely.
So, I mean, for you, Obehi, you need to stop convincing them. You need to ask them the questions of why do you see this as a, why don't you try it at least? What is the worst case scenario? In a way, you use NLP and look at on asking questions and digging deeper in order for them to get. They have the answer. You know that, Obehi. You know that they have the answer. And I think the most people of us, why we don't go further on, is fear or comfort. So we are afraid of the answer we will get when we look into that NLP book, because it might reveal something bad about us and about the business that we're managing. Or we are so comfortable in the situation that we see, I don't give a fuck. It's okay. No problem. I'm good as it is. So why should I change? So, I mean, it's about comfort and fear and no, ask them questions and put them on the spot and dig deeper, Obehi, if you want them to really get this NLP thing.
Mm-hmm. That is another great point again. I'm going to put it down somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, now. Actually, it's a very good point. No. Okay, now I want to ask you like this: What are the? Because of course I know that all this that you have explained inside there is already the technique, but I want you to really explain us. What are maybe the 5 techniques or some of the techniques that someone can really use to effectively master NLP?
Well, I think I've told some of them. I mean, for me, it's very much that. First of all, I have the attitude that I want to change. So that is the one. But that is not really a technique. A technique is that everything happens twice. So I have learned to make an affirmation of what I really want to see happening. And then, in this NLP, I think there are 20, 50, 30, 40 different kinds of ways of achieving and overcoming the obstacles. And for me, it's like one of the most effective way, I will not say 5, I will say 2. Affirmation, things happen twice, first in your imagination and then in real life. That has helped me a lot. The second thing is that this is where I stand now. Okay, this is my wish future. Okay. And then between my current state and my wish future, there is an obstacle. So how do I get over that obstacle? Okay, what resources do I have and what resources do I need to take in, help, buy, or whatever. So when I realize that this is where I stand and this is where I want to go, and then this is the obstacle, and I find the solution on what resources I need in order to overcome that has helped me quite a lot. And sometimes it's friends who can help me. Sometimes it's financial institutes. Sometimes it's a bigger sales force. Sometimes it's I don't know, something.
you know, because you already said it, no? All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate that. I appreciate that. All right, now, from all what you have said, someone might like to know more about you. Maybe some offer that you have out there that you are selling. I don't know, maybe a course or a training program that you have. Maybe not necessarily on NLP, but related to NLP. Is there something you want people to know, or maybe to find out more about you, where they can know more information about you? Let us know.
I mean, I'm very, very thankful for giving this opportunity. And actually, I don't see myself as a very special person. I'm a normal guy who has been stubborn in a certain way and achieved a bit here and a bit there. But I'm there to help. And if people want and need my help, I'm there. I know that I have some insights in sales. I have a full training course in sales called Effective Selling. And I have a full training course when it comes to management, middle management especially, called Goal and Motivation. I have a YouTube channel. Just put in my name and you will get about free tutorial for 90 video clips. I have my LinkedIn page. I have my blog, my homepage. And I'm there, and I've realized that there are so many people out there doing a very good job as well. And if people see that I can help them, I'm there. But in a way, I have a hard time, lifting myself up to high horses and say I have all the answers. But I have some answers, and I can understand people, and I can listen to people, and I can make them grow. I've seen that. I have proof of that, and I'm proud of that. Maybe not the thousands, but enough for me to be satisfied and be happy for some of the things I've seen in people that have made them grow based on something that I have been a part of. But strictly business point of view, yes, I have a very good effective selling course, a 10-step program. When it comes to management, I have a 6-step course, Goal and Motivation. Feel free, inbox me, talk to me, and I'm here.
All right. Anyway, you have all heard it. If you are interested in what Michael has to offer, just connect to him. So he will be able to help you. Of course, you can hear that he's not saying that they have all the solution, but he's honest about it. He has some solution. In fact, in life is sort of make up like this, no? In that none of us have it all. We all have a bit of it. So that is how the puzzle is made at the end of the day.
Exactly.
All right.
That's I like.
To conclude this podcast, Michael, because it's about NLP for business success, as it were. Now, how do you think somebody can get started? That is the last question.
You just start. You start. How? You find a book, you find a course, you sign up, and you start. Or actually, the first thing that you need to do if you want to get this is that you decide that you want to have it. You decide that it's going to help you. And if you see that it's going to be beneficial for you, you go for it. That's it.
That's perfect. And that is fair enough. I like your frankness, Michael. I like your frankness. And, in life, we really just have to be frank, Have to be frank about it. I really have to start. Just go for it. That is powerful.
Go for it. Yeah. We said it last time, and I'll say it again. Just go for it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.